Hello, friends and neighbors. John, your whiskey neighbor here, and welcome down the Nook. It's Sunday. We're going to shoot a couple of samples, and I've got a couple of bourbon samples from Ray out of Texas. Just can't thank you enough, sir, for sending me things that I can't get here. Although the second one has shown up, so now I'm interested. Should I buy it? What am I going to talk about today is this sample bottle, which is Dickel 15-year-old single barrel. So that's the Dickel 15-year-old. And then the second one here is the Heaven Hill 7-year-old bottle and bond product. So, if you've got any bourbon, especially around the bottle and bond range, some around 100 proof, why don't you pour a little bit? Or even better, if you've got the Dickel single barrel or the Heaven Hill 7-year-old bottle and bond, pour either one. These are just my first thoughts. I've just emptied them out and, not emptied them, but I've poured them out, and I'm pretty excited to be tasting these great bourbons with you. So pour something and come on back. 3, 4. I hope you can tell I'm pretty excited, especially, I will say especially for this Dickel 15-year-old, because I've had a bumpy road with Dickel. Dickel number 12 just doesn't agree with me, although I need to try it again because I love their rye. I love some of their other expressions I've had, but that just the regular 12 just doesn't sit. But I think it was Phil and Julie from the Bourbon Van that were out in the snow, and they were talking about Dickel 15 like a while ago, like 8 months or so ago, and they were so excited, certainly Phil was, that I thought, I've got to get my hands on this. And then Ray sent me a sample. Wow. So let's talk Dickel 15. Now I think it's 52.3%, and the classic Dickel kind of low rye, like 8% rye, 8% barley, pretty high corn then, whatever the balance is, 83-ish, 84. And so that's the mash bill. It's aged 15 years. It's clearly indicated right on the bottle. Other than that, I don't know that much about it. Of course, we know Dickel Tennessee whiskey uses a classic charcoal slow filtration process, which can give it a characteristic note. But let's just get at the whiskey. It's a good bourbon nose. Sweet, though. I'm getting lots of vanilla. Some dusty spices, a little bit of cinnamon already there, a little bit of caramel. I have to think about what the fruit note is I'm getting. Right now it's a little more kind of spicy, it's not hot spicy. Getting a little bit of cinnamons, a little bit of that kind of thing, and then a fair amount of sweet vanilla, like a fair amount. Yeah, and some nice, I was going to say young oak, but that doesn't work on 15 years. Sweet oak, maybe something like that, because I'm getting already kind of some oak nose. Yeah, there maybe edges of chocolate and some cherry. Yeah, now it's starting to get into some back notes. So now it's richer. Now it's cooked sugars. Definitely opening up a bit more. Still fairly sweet. Still definitely oaky and vanilla sweetness. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. Full flavor. It's nicely oaked. It's already coming back on the finish. I better keep talking palate. Nice spice. Not too hot either way. So it's got a little bit of peppering, but more cinnamons, more clove, a little bit of nutmeg. It's a little bit of a nut going on in there. I better take another sip. Oh, surprising. Usually higher ryes are drying for me, but it is well oaked, and the oak is drying my mouth and giving me some char to talk about, in with the really almost creamy, sweet, caramel, vanilla, icing sugar. This is very tasty, and it's got a really nice experience across the palate and into the finish. So it gives that it gives that experience with the sip too. Definitely has some. I know I talked about younger, sweeter oak. It's because I could smell it like a popsicle stick oak, like something like, oh hey, this is fresh. But in the sip palate experience, now it is that drying and older and slightly mustier oak for sure. This is a well oaked bourbon. It's not the only note by any means, but it's got a really good sweetness across, some sweet fruits, and a slight nut. I don't know what that nut is. Almond, peanut, somewhere in there. And then that sweetness is really well complemented with the oak that I'm trying to describe. This is a great dram. That third sip was just for me. Wow, Ray, awesome. This would be a bottle if it's in your area, to absolutely bring home, and I think you would enjoy. Oh, and there it's a little older, a little edge, just an edge of that, leather tobacco note kind of thing going on too. Really nice interplay between sweetness and significant oak. Let's take a look at this Heaven Hill Bottle and Bond. Another sample, thanks Ray. And what's interesting is it has shown up in my market. Briefly, I saw it on the shelf and then it's gone. But I feel like it'll come back because I think it's going to be a regular expression. So 7 years old, Heaven Hill's mash bill is also low rye. 10 or 12. I'll look it up and put it down below. But somewhere in there, a little more barley than Dickel. So overall, a little less corn, if I may. But still, like not a high rye mash bill. A little dusty on the nose. A little less expressive. Now, I got pretty excited about the Dickel over there, but it's similar in that I've got some, like toffee, like caramel. I think the Heaven Hill needs to open up a little bit because now that I've splashed this around the glass, it's so rich and thick. Whereas right now, this is not that, but perhaps after a couple of sips. So right now it's good, but it's more light toffee, like caramel, and I'm not getting much fruit off it. Let's try it on the palate. Cheers. Again, not as rich in the palate. Tasty, but it really has all of the spice component and some caramel component, some of those things going on. But it's missing the, in comparison, I shouldn't really do that too much, but some of the really sweet, rich cooked elements that I was getting on the 15-year-old, I'm not getting here. Let's try another sip. So as I keep sipping this Heaven Hill, it continues to be, this is a nice, got some backbone bourbon and good oak expression, more cracked pepper, hot pepper, white pepper to balance with the cinnamon. The sweetness is eluding me. I get it every now and then, but a little more caramel, a little more toffee than that higher vanilla sweetness. And a richness layer just isn't coming back for me. Well, I don't usually go quite back and forth as much as I have in this sitting. But the reason why I decided to do that kind of just spontaneous. And again, this is my first pour. I haven't spent an evening with these. I poured them right out and I'm tasting them live with you guys. but I'm struggling to find more than, kind of dusty oak, layers of pepper, cinnamon, and some caramel sweetness in the Heaven Hill. I was really trying to say, and sometimes in contrast with another whiskey, I can get at that. But in this case, it didn't give it up. And while I like this, I'd gladly enjoy this sip with you guys. It's a good bourbon. But this Dickel 15 in this sitting and first thoughts is really rich. I went back to it and right away, I know I've shared this note with you guys, but like just that rich baking fresh cinnamon bun, cracked brown sugar, cooked down brown sugar almost into that candy crack. A lot of sweetness, and then some nice expressive oak. Whereas this stayed pretty kind of dry, peppery, spicy, and a little bit of caramel going on in there, but not any fruit. Here, I didn't get an expressive fruit. Every now and then I got a dark cherry. I've heard other people talk, orange. And since I've said that out loud, yeah, maybe it didn't scream that to me. This is just my thoughts. So, thanks for dropping in on this Sunday. And again, I just can't thank Ray enough for sending whiskey that I can't get in my market yet, or now maybe I can. I'll have to spend, an evening with this, try a second sample a few days later before I want to drop the coin. If this showed up in my market, this Dickel 15, I'm pretty sure I'd find the money. Thanks again for being here. Hope you had a great weekend and have a great work week coming up.